Right guys, so we're back for episode 2 of Mac's vlog, and in this episode we're going to be introducing the lead a little bit. So last episode you saw me doing lots and lots of retrieving, which is the mainstay of what I do at this stage, but now I wanted to start introducing the lead. I normally do that with my clients at around about 13 weeks old. Now often it starts off with me just using one of my little puppy leads. So I do a puppy pack here. It's got the blue puppy training lead that you'll see me using very soon. It also has a thinner retrieving lead and a slightly longer version of the retrieving lead. Now, the heel lead that I use has a little ring on it, has different loops up through it, and when I'm first working with my clients, I'm trying to establish on that lead which is the correct loop to hold. And once they've got holding the correct loop, it's a variable that I don't then have to worry about. But sometimes at the beginning I might need to pick up, drop the lead, let the dog run around with it on, pick it up again, and it's very bitty at first. And the problems with that lead is that it has a ring on it, and then the lead is very prone to dropping off. So I then actually use my retrieving leads at the beginning when I'm first trying to get the dog moving around. And in these new 2 next clips that you're going to see me using one of my retrieving leads as a heel lead. But once I've got him just doing heel work, then I will use the blue lead, which has a ring on it. So if I'm doing retrieving and heel work, then I use one of my retrieving leads. And if I'm just doing heel work, I use one of my other leads that has a ring on it. Hope that hasn't confused you too much. I have had a few questions in the past week or two asking me about some of the other bits and pieces that I do. So I have a very rigid routine at the beginning of lots of let outs, lots of time away. I only train once a day though, probably for maybe 1 to 5 minutes, depending on the age of the puppy. Certainly within the first 3 or 4 months. I'm not doing loads, but what the key point is, I'm not doing lots of wrong. So as you've probably seen me retrieving in my back garden here, so I have a training ground, which you'll see in the second part of my video. And in the first video, I'm just doing stuff in my own garden. Our house is a new build house. It's a very boring layout, a square green garden. Nothing in it for the dog to pick up. Nothing for the dog to get into trouble, no flower borders, etc. So it is very, very boring, but absolutely perfect for a spaniel. It's enough space to run around and go to the toilet, enough space for me to do a reasonable amount of training here. If you've seen Charlie's vlog, you'll see how much training I did here last summer with him. But it's not enough room for the dog to run around and end up it being a bit like a Benny Hill sketch. You're trying to get your dog back into a flower border, picking things up, you're chasing it around, all these other things. You really want to avoid that. So if you have got a more complicated garden, get yourself some puppy panels, spend a couple of £100, set up a safe area big enough to run around. I would say somewhere between sort of quarter and half a tennis court, the white lines of a tennis court. So it doesn't have to be huge, but any area that the dog can get into, you really, really want to avoid that. Those distractions can really get in the way of things. Anyway, I hope you follow the next 2 little clips where I'm working on using the retrieve. So this is my 30-gram natural rabbit skin puppy dummy. You'll see these on our Facebook page. Spaniel training kit. Don't forget, have a look, anything that you want on there, spaniel training kit. But I was actually using this as a carrot, almost like for a donkey, to get the dog to keep up with me. The only thing is it relies on you having a good retrieve first. You cannot use this as a way of getting the dog to work with you if the dog isn't retrieving out and back. So I already had him retrieving out and back, so that gave me the option to use this to get him to trick him into walking to heel effectively. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this clip. Right, so here we are with little Mac. He's got his little retrieving lead on here. I've got one of the short ones. I do them in a couple of different lengths, but the short one is all I need at this point. And you can see already I'm using that little retrieve there to get him to keep up with me. Now, the reason why I'm actually giving him the odd retrieve is for 2 reasons. One, if I don't ever allow him to pick it, after a while the dog can start to sort of see through your ruse and then not want to keep up with you, thinking, well, you're not going to throw it, I'm not going to get it, so therefore I am not going to try and keep up. Whereas what I'm doing is I'm letting him have an odd retrieve, so he thinks it's very likely that I'm about to throw it. So of course he then wants to keep up with me. And as I said previously, this does require that you have a good out and back retrieve in an open space like this. So this might not be possible to do until you have a good retrieve. Hence why I'm always working on my retrieve from such an early age, because I know if they are a little bit funny on the lead, which a lot of pups are at the beginning, using this retrieve can be a little canny trick to get the dog to keep up with you. So you can now see here I'm just doing a little bit of heel. Nice and relaxed, always talking to the dog, telling him I'm pleased. If he lags behind, I might lean over to get him to keep up. So we've moved on to another day here. It was quite warm on this day, so I was quite conscious about not doing too much for too long. But again, I've got that little retrieving lead on there. I have a little saying which is left hand lead, right hand retrieve. Now you can see what lovely eye contact I've got from there, Mac. He's really starting to pay attention a little bit more. I should imagine this is about 3 or 4 days after the first video that you've just seen. I'm still pretty much doing the same thing where I'm walking around trying to get the dog to keep up with me, then throwing the retrieve out. Now he's come in lovely there, he's holding the retrieve. Mac can be a little bit prone to mouthing the retrieve, and I'm always telling my clients, as long as the retrieve's in the dog's mouth, that's all I'm bothered about. So here, I'm actually starting to just make him sit and wait for a little while with the training lead on. Let's come back here again. We're going to flick the retrieve out once again. Going to push him into a gentle sat position here on my left hand side. I'm holding onto the training lead. Just tried to go there. I'm just making him sit and wait for a moment. Little click of the fingers, and then off he goes running out. Encouraging him up. Now, as you guys know, if you followed my vlogs, I'm always aiming to get those front feet up on my lap if I can. Always looking to keep those back feet on the floor. And I'm allowing him to hold that retrieve there. You can see he's wagging his tail. He's having a nice time. That's the main thing. At the start, sometimes I'll throw the retrieve out, let the dog run in, then I might make them sit and wait. I'll sort of mix it up just to keep it nice and fun. The main thing is that I'm keeping that tail wagging. So I'm going to put the retrieve down there on my right hand side. That just gets out the way while you're dealing with the dog. Gently pushing him into that sat position. Holding the lead. He just lunged forward there, so I just gently pull back through the lead. He's not watching the retrieve, but I know that he'll go get it, so I'm not too worried that he's not looking at it. A little bit of faffing here. Does happen from time to time. Up on my lap. Now I'd make a conscious decision. If I feel the dog is holding the retrieve well, then I'll try and get the dog up on my lap. If I'm worried they might drop it because maybe they're holding it by the end or they've been messing around with it a little bit, I might be prone to taking it slightly sooner. What I don't want is for the dog to spit the retrieve out, me pick it up, throw it out again, because that will exacerbate the likelihood of the dog spitting the retrieve out in the anticipation that you may throw it again sooner. So again, you see him coming back there, that tail's going. Going to use that carrot again to get him to keep up. Nice little gentle turns. Then I'll just throw it and let him run in. This way you keep the dog always thinking, oh, dad might throw the retrieve. And so therefore the dog doesn't lag behind. Eventually I'll stop doing that. But in this early stage when I'm still trying to build that confidence within that puppy, I'm getting to work on 2 things here. One, my heel work, which is part of the retrieving, and also starting to link the retrieving and the heel work together. Nice little slow-mo there. Just flatten down there, it's not a big problem. So this time I decided just to come off my knees slightly, but then straight back down onto my knees to receive him back to me. So even if I start to stand up or squat down, I'm always going back down at this stage. I'm always working on trying to see if I can get the puppy to hold the retrieve or keep holding the retrieve in my mouth, which is super important. I don't want to be snatching off them too soon unless I really have to. But again, using that carrot there to get him to keep up. He just squatted down, but it's no big deal. We'll fix that. Just gently pushed him around into a sat position. He's looking at me, but I know that he'll go get it. And that will again also go once he realizes he's doing the right thing. Just getting near the end here. So sometimes when I feel the dog's sort of had enough, I might do a few retrieves where I just throw the retrieve and just let the puppy run in again and fall over there. It's okay. Again, just getting him to keep up with me. Just starting to sit and wait there. Lovely. Spot on. That's just what I want. Okay, just guiding him up onto my lap again. Making that decision, is he holding it well? No, that time there I just took it out of his mouth and gently moved it to centralize it within his mouth, and then carried on letting him hold on to it. Oh, just went the wrong way there. Nice little fun slow-mo there. Off we go again. A lot of the same thing at the beginning. I'm just going on my feeling at that moment. Do I need to throw it? Do I need to let it run in? Has the dog had enough? Hasn't it? Just steadying up here again. We're working towards eventually being able to stand up, having the dog sat by our side, and then eye contact and being able to send the dog. We'll probably be aiming to do a little bit of that in the next vlog series, episode 3, that will be coming in a week or two's time. A little bit more here. Again, just using that carrot to get him to keep up with me. Oh, squatted down, flick the retrieve out, just gently lift him up onto his front feet. And then I can throw that right arm out and send him. Tail still going, that's the main thing. Just going to let him run in again straight away on that one. Like a little rocket ship back to me. Right, well, I hope you enjoyed this latest episode of Max Vlog, episode 2. In episode 3, coming very soon, I've already started filming that. I'm going to be starting to steady Mac up to a retrieve. That's going to be my next stage, and then hopefully I can do some, what I call the basic routine, which is involving some heel and some sit and some sends, and maybe even some back retrieve. So don't forget to subscribe and like, guys. Any questions, stick them down in the description below. Otherwise, happy training.